What's going on, everybody? Super Saiyan Paul here, back at it again with another Dragon Ball Super discussion. Today we have another one with Broly versus Jiren, and I have UnrealEntGaming alongside me to debate on who we believe is the stronger fighter.
What's up, guys? This is going to be a really good debate, so I'm ready to get into it.
Let's just jump right into it, guys. So, in my opinion, out of the two, Jiren versus Broly, I believe Broly is the stronger fighter, and he is the better character. So, you guys know I've been a Broly fan for a long time, and the way that they brought him into the series here and canonized him, I say that he's stronger than Jiren is, and there's a few things that they put in the movie that actually makes this come very, very close. So, a lot of people believe that Jiren was the end-all, be-all because of the fact that it took Ultra Instinct in its mastered state to beat him. However, I still view Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta to be right up there alongside that, and Broly becoming everlasting stronger in every single fight that he gets into, surpassing Jiren. What do you say, Alex?
I would have to strongly disagree because there's no empirical evidence that supports the narrative that Broly would even surpass that of UI Omen or Master Ultra Instinct in that aspect, as to where there's empirical evidence to show that Jiren was able to not only counteract UI Omen stage 3, after having to, deal with Kefla and having to see Goku grow exponentially in power, but also seeing that Jiren was able to go toe-to-toe against Mastered Ultra Instinct. Whether or not you want to look at it to where he lost or he conceded to the power of Goku at that point is completely irrelevant to the idea that if Broly was swapped out in that position, it's true that Broly would have more of a chance to adapt than someone like Jiren in terms of Zenkais and growing exponentially in power, just like we've seen in the movie. But I feel like in that scenario, whether it be UI Omen Goku or Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, there's empirical evidence to support the narrative now that Goku, after the TOP, who's gotten much stronger, would be able to completely decimate Broly using Ultra Instinct Omen or Master Ultra Instinct, given the status of Broly having to be inexperienced in battle. And being that Jiren was able to hang in there with essentially everybody, that kind of in and of itself proves this statement that someone like Jiren being able to take on Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 Goku, Android 17, and Golden Frieza all at the same time, not even, discrediting his prior fight with Hit and some of the other warriors, but Jiren has been in there, and he's been showcased to exert more and do more against seemingly enough, higher numbers of fighters. For example, like I just mentioned, 17 Frieza, Vegeta, and Goku, whereas I believe if the tides were to be shifted in Broly's favor to where we had Golden Frieza, 17, Vegeta, and Goku against Broly, I could see it to where it would be very, very, I guess, evident that the 4 would ultimately, best Broly in that case, because you have more of a tactical kind of approach with 17 and Frieza. You have Goku and Vegeta who basically went in there with Jiren. So I think that if the roles were reversed, I don't think Broly would have a chance in defeating all 4 of them at once, just like Jiren did. But the only narrative I would have to go with here is the fact that with Jiren being able to hang in with Ultra Instinct, I don't see Broly doing the same. I can concede to the idea that Broly would be able to compete with Kaioken and maybe Evolution if it was introduced in the movie. But that narrative was not introduced in the movie for us to even see in the first place. And yes, Broly is listed as the strongest enemy they faced, but then again, you can't discredit the notion that prior in the TOP, Goku and Vegeta, they never resorted to fusion because the opportunity wasn't presented and the offer wasn't made by either or to use fusion. Of course, we had the illusion of the Potaras being used, and it was used by, Kale and Caulifla, but I feel like the outcome would have been the same if it was perhaps maybe Vegeta or Gogeta in the TOP, just like we've seen Gogeta against Broly. That's empirical in and of itself. But I think when looking at Jiren and Broly collectively, I don't think Jiren would give Broly the time of day to adapt as quickly, or maybe the opposite. Maybe he might do what he did to Goku, allowed Goku to gather the Genki for the Spirit Bomb, and even after understanding that that was Goku's most powerful attack, and acknowledging him and telling Goku, I'll give you the time you need to formulate that attack to launch at me, and look what happened. He blinked it with his eyes. So even if Broly were to adapt quick enough, I think Jiren would allow it. But since Jiren's, ideals and his narrative is solitude is strength, and the one thing that drives him is his motivation to never lose in a battle, I don't think he would allow it to where Broly could adapt or even supersede him in power. And even if he did, I think Jiren would once again break through his limits, as we've seen in the TOP, just based on his will to never lose and never say never, and acknowledging his master at that given point in time, and always wanted to show him what he was like as a warrior. I think Jiren would supersede Broly. I think that Broly would adapt quicker, yes, but in terms of raw unmitigated power and strategy, and also when it comes to durability and tactics, I think Jiren would definitely have that in the bag.
I'd still say that because of Jiren's ego, since it's similar to that of a Saiyan, and the fact that his own ego was his downfall in the Tournament of Power, I think he would give Broly the chance to adapt, and I still believe Broly does reach higher potential than Jiren ever would because of the fact that he's a Saiyan and things of that nature, because of the fact that...
Oh yeah, no, I conceded to that idea. I agree with you. I said that Broly would definitely adapt, but however, look what Jiren did in the TOP when everyone else adapted. He wasn't phased in the slightest. He even told Vegeta when he defeated Toppo, "Congratulations, you defeated Toppo, but that power is meaningless against me. I'm gonna show you raw. I'm gonna show you the true powers, of what I bear." And even then, he continuously, exceeded his own expectation and limits. He was able to supersede Kamehamehas and Final Flashes together. He was able to, endure more at a much, I guess you could say, smaller timing, because of the whole TOP timer and a lot of rules having to be incorporated with no killing and no flying. So to an extent, you can make the argument in saying that how suppressed was Jiren during that fight, whereas opposed to Broly had the bloodlust to kill, per se, because after in the movie when he saw Paragus die, spoiler alert, he went into rage mode, he went into kill, and Gogeta was, spoiler alert again, about to kill Broly at the end of the movie. But if killing was allowed in the TOP, then Jiren would easily solo everybody there if it was allowed for him to be unrestricted. But being that he was as restricted as he was alongside everybody else, then you can make the argument in saying that, if that was Jiren having to be restricted from killing and flying, then imagine if he wasn't,
But then remember that this is Goku after the Tournament of Power. After both Goku and Vegeta have witnessed the power of Jiren, both of these guys drop their egos to fuse to defeat Broly. Not only that, they're both stronger than they were then in the Tournament of Power. Thus, that power of Super Saiyan Blue that we're seeing in the movie, it's above what they had in the Tournament of Power post-fighting Jiren. So I would still say and conceive the notion that Broly is still stronger than Jiren just for that fact. And even if, let's say, he was to fight Ultra Instinct Goku or even Mastered Ultra Instinct, I would still say that I think Broly would actually be able to outlast a minute with that form and adapt to it. And as soon as that form wears out, because technically even though it's mastered, he still only has about a minute in that form before his body gets torn to pieces, and then Broly can take the win. Jiren did survive the whole minute. It's just that I don't necessarily think Jiren is on the same level as Broly in that category, simply because Broly being able to adapt would just defeat Jiren's ego in that ability, and plus the fact that we're looking at a Goku and Vegeta that's much stronger and much more battle experienced. After seeing something like Jiren, why were they so shocked to the point where they went into desperation mode and fused to go and take down this new foe? They didn't even pull that with Jiren, whether it was because of pride, whether it was because of desperation. They really weren't super clear with that, but it still shows you how much of a threat Broly was compared to Jiren. And another stepping stone in the power levels here is that them specifically saying Broly is stronger than Beerus flat out shows you where he stands. That was
never implied. I'm going to correct that right now. That magazine scan had the implication that he might have been, whereas as opposed to the end of the movie, Goku also implied via statement that Broly perhaps might be stronger than Beerus. But what kind of measuring stick do we have to base off of Beerus with? All we have is Battle of Gods and the brief battle with Goku in the Monaco suit. And that's Beerus heavily suppressed unless you want to look into the manga where he fought all the gods by himself and outlasted everybody. See, the narrative is skewed because the only engagement we have right now is Jiren, because Jiren was said to be, quote, a mortal that the Hakaishin cannot defeat. And by Hakaishin, you can also imply Beerus as well, being grouped up in the bunch. So with that being said, what experience of Beerus do we have to gauge off of here other than him having to fight in Battle of Gods? And guess what? He was heavily suppressed in Battle of Gods, implied twice in the movie and in the show. So I feel like there's more to Beerus than meets the eye. People shouldn't sleep on him. So yes, sure, there might be characters now like Jiren indefinitely and possibly Broly that could, quote, be stronger than Beerus. But what Beerus do we have to gauge off of here if we haven't seen him really push himself to those limits and extents. Not to say that these warriors aren't stronger than him or could not be, but what I'm implying here is the fact that it is highly possible that Broly could be stronger than Beerus. It was never indefinitely confirmed, especially with Goku at the end of the movie, because Goku implied that he might be. But then again, if you want to take those, you know, vague statements out of context, how do we also talk or explain when Shin implied that Vegito Blue during the Merge Zamasu arc was also stronger than Beerus? So there's a lot of statements that you can't take wholeheartedly, unless it's fully like disclosed.
But they never disclosed that Jiren was stronger than Beerus either, and they never really specified that.
But they specified that he is the mortal that the Hakaishin cannot defeat.
Not the Hakaishin, a god of destruction. They didn't say the.
Right. So by that in and of itself, you can easily, you know, base that narrative of whoever was, you know, there. Iwan, Liquor, Beerus,
but he
Belmont,
could have been
whatever.
easily just stronger than Belmont. And then if you look at the manga,
he was definitely was. But yeah, he was in the manga.
But then in the manga, in that same exact like sequence, basically it took 3 of them just to take on Beerus. So that doesn't necessarily say that Jiren is even in the same tier as Beerus. It could still be below him. And then for them to say, since Goku has the fighting experience out of everyone against Beerus himself, he can still kind of have somewhat of a gauge as to where Broly is. This is a dimension-shattering fight that they had. So I think that gives a lot more, like, more of a solid foundation for Broly to be up there rather than Jiren. Because even God of Destruction Toppo is up there, but they defeated him. So it's like, where is the God of Destruction start and where's him?
Toppo even told Frieza, if you recall, you know, he asked him, he was like, trash belongs in the trash, right? I would end you now, but I don't want to get myself disqualified. And that was right before he knocked him off by the edge of the ring. And he specifically told him as he was crushing his skull, I could kill you right now if I wanted to. If I really wanted to, I can kill you right now. But if I do that, I'm going to get disqualified. So that's just Toppo. You can easily make the assessment in saying that Jiren's a lot stronger than Toppo. And if Toppo was, you know, vaguely making those claims, then you can only imagine what Jiren would be able to do if he were not to be suppressed. Now, yes, Super Saiyan Blue was stronger in the DBS movie than, you know, the TOP counterpart, which is obvious, you know, based on shonen, you know, TV shows and shonen magazines and whatever. That's just the way shonen animes work. But I think in this case, the argument that I would have to make is the fact that Jiren hung in there with the best and several god tier characters at once, being able to break through literally everything. He fought every level of Vegeta, every level of Goku, and even for the sake of plot, because Goku did have plot, he fought the most powerful version of Goku there ever was. Broly never fought the most powerful version of Goku there ever was, that being MUI or UI Omen. And I think that, like I said before, if the tides were shifted in Broly's favor to where he did fight either version of Ultra Instinct, I don't think Broly would be able to survive at all. Given plot on Goku's side or whatever the case may be, him burning out, that's just a level of power that I definitively feel like neither could rival. But if Jiren could actually go toe-to-toe against it, I don't see how Broly can. So my final points here are, I can see Broly adapting to Jiren, and I can see Jiren allowing him to give it his best. But I think since Jiren is a warrior of absolute solitude, I don't see him giving away to where he would give Broly enough to where he would be able to supersede him, knowing the threat level at hand.
I would still say that he would, and I also would say that, yes, Jiren did take on multiple god-level characters, but at the same time, I'll give Broly the same credit, because he did fight Frieza, he did fight Goku, he did fight Vegeta, all in stronger states than Jiren did. And I think just because Android 17 isn't in that mix, with the power buffs that all 3 of these guys got versus Broly, I would still say that makes up for it, more than makes up for it, to the point where you made 2 Saiyans put aside their pride and fuse. I think at that point in time, Gogeta Super Saiyan Blue still has a chance against Ultra Instinct Goku for that same reason. I think if they were to have Gogeta fight Ultra Instinct Goku, that 1 minute that Goku has, he wasn't able to take out Jiren. I think Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta would be able to last in that fight and thus take him down after his body gets the wear and tear. Meaning that Broly, in that same sense, could still defeat him if it was past that minute mark. And I think he would outlast what Jiren did just because of that. And Jiren's ego, because of him allowing people to power up, is what would cause Broly, someone that even got the best of Goku and Vegeta in this movie, actually all of them, to power up and get himself defeated as well, because he's a Saiyan, a legendary.
But if we're basing the Jiren after the TOP, there is no ego if he's learned how to cooperate via teamwork, but he's still going to be the same warrior. He's still going to allow you to give your everything because that's just the type of person that he is. He comes across, even stated by Belmont, he's the type of person that he truly believes in his solitude, and the ideal of that solitude is strength. So in that aspect, I can see, you know, Jiren allowing Broly to adapt however many times, just as he's done with many other people. You can call it ego, but he would want you at his best, and he's fought everyone at their best, and even then he mocked them. Now, is it ego driven to mock your opponent after you defeat them? Yes, but let's not discredit the fact that he was still able to take on a multitude of fighters by himself. And if given the opportunity, I think Jiren would have easily soloed this entire tournament from the start. If this was a tournament to where there was no restrictions, you go in there, you do what you got to do, Jiren would have easily have done so, just like in the beginning when he was completely unfazed by anything anybody was showcasing. That's scary, because I think that in terms of power, surely Broly could have the gift of power on his side and being able to perhaps maybe supersede Jiren in some sense. But even then, I think that Jiren's tactics and his overall like resiliency would be, you know, Broly's downfall.
Anyway, guys, thank you.
But even then, I think that Jiren's tactics is over.
Smash that like button, subscribe, as well as subscribe to Alex's channel at UnrealEntGaming. Comment down below with either Broly or Jiren, who do you think is stronger, and tell us why. We appreciate all of your viewership. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be seeing you guys next time. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.